Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is. Time for another workout. Today was Dynamic Effort Bench Press Day. Today I did something different. Something I've been thinking about, something I've realized I probably need to do. You know, we've talked a lot about my bench press. We know my bench press is my weak link. I haven't really been doing true powerlifting bench press. I haven't been using, again, to where I dig my feet in a certain way. You guys see now I'm wide stance, flat heeled. I'm arching and I'm using a wider grip. That doesn't look like a very pronounced arch because I have long arms. I have a long wingspan. But if you look close, that's actually a pretty big arch. Pretty big arch. And when I set in that way, which is what I need to practice on more and more, when I set in that way, it feels like a different exercise. Now, I always tell you guys that arching will recruit more pectoral, even though it cuts range of motion as long as it doesn't become an extreme arch. But that's pretty big. Look right there as I set up. That's a pretty big arch. That, again, the lower chest gets a lot more activated. I wasn't prepared to feel it the way that I do. I started practicing with this just a few days ago, a little bit with the empty bar. Realized that my range of motion feels dramatically shorter. I basically feel like I'm cutting out a third of the range of motion of what I normally do out of the bottom. When I started doing these, my chest, I felt my entire lower chest, all the way that whole outer edge that runs along there, in a way I don't think I've felt in years. And I realized, yeah, I'm going to have to start benching this way. It's going to be my weak link. However, it's definitely changing where I feel things. It's definitely letting me know that I haven't been using my chest completely. And as I was doing it, I had to practice a little bit finding my position so I don't hit the uprights as I'm messing with the speed work here. Yeah, it was so different. I'm going to have a sore chest. My chest is still sore right now. The whole outer edge, I haven't felt it work like that. I've been using mostly middle chest, upper chest. That's one reason I'm pretty good at the overhead press. My upper chest, my delts and all that are really strong. My lower chest isn't that strong. Now, does this mean I need to do a bunch of lower chest work? I'm going to say no. Why? Because it's being hit with a novel stress just from my pressing. It's going to get stronger at first just from the pressing volume. And in fact, I might push it beyond its recovery if I try to do a bunch of other stuff for it. What I did notice, however, is that my triceps, as I progressed on this, I would say around the 6th set, I finally started feeling my triceps. So they could be a work capacity limit. So I'm going to stick with the original game plan for assistance work. And where I felt the triceps, very similar to where I feel them in the JM press, which kind of shows you why so many power lifters really focus on the JM press. That could be my limiting factor in my bench volume. So we're going to keep working it. And it's going to be my limiting factor potentially with all the accommodating resistance on the max work. So I'm just going to keep training my triceps. I'm going to keep training my triceps. I'm going to keep doing the assistance work and everything also for the bench. Keep the programming on the bench, but use the speed days to learn to get my arch better, to get my feet set in where I want them, to get this technique down for getting in tight, getting these angles that I want. I will eventually need to get better at arching, but I'm also not quite used to gripping the bar out this wide. So that combined with it is going to take some getting used to. But the dynamic work, doing stuff like today with like the 9 sets of 5, will let me get a lot of practice on that. And I feel like I'm going to need several of these dynamic sessions to get in the groove. And we'll see how it starts transferring over to the max work. Because I'm going to need to start doing this with the heavy work too. I'm going to need to. I'm going to have to. But I feel like a lot of this is the direction that I have to go. I've got to get better at just benching. And you know, I've got to keep getting strong. I've got to keep doing this same training style, but my bench technique itself has to change. And I feel like this is a push in the right direction. Focus on squeezing the bar harder. Focus on getting that bar path. Getting set in with an arch. Spreading my feet instead of tucking the feet under, because that's one of the things I noticed when I was doing the Buffalo bar also. Some stability issues when I try to bench wider. I do fine with a close grip bench. I mean, you guys have seen me hit some pretty decent close grip bench numbers with my feet pulled in under and in against the bench. But when I'm going wider, I need that extra balance. I just need that stability from the wider footing. And I don't normally do that wider footing, but what have I been doing? I've been sumo deadlifting. I've been box squatting, working on my stance. I've increased my ability to have that mobility, and that's going to continue to increase. Well, this is a case to where the box squatting, if it allows me to get my feet out wider, because I've built that mobility to be able to do that, and to start getting my leg drive with a wider stance, and I've got to work on that more and more on the bench, then what happens? And that would mean that the box squat's even going to improve my bench. That's a story for some of those who like conjugate, how the box squat improved my bench press. All right. I didn't do a lot of supplemental work today because I felt like I couldn't do my standing presses. My chest hurts. My chest hurts. My entire chest hurts. I felt like that would be overkill for it today. And I'll do some lighter shoulder work and stuff this weekend. Just some band work and maybe some kettlebell stuff to make sure it all gets done. So then I went with my chest supported rows. I started with that medium grip, and then I decided to go out wide. Like, let me work the wider grip today. Because I grabbed it a couple different ways and it felt just a little bit better today. So I'm using the slightly wider grip and trying to row it up high. I want to work my upper back more. Trying to keep it towards that upper back. And you got to remember, on rowing, a wide grip closer to the face, so you're further up the chest instead of further down towards your stomach, tends to work your upper back more. I need more upper back for my benching. I'm getting all the lat and stuff I need for my pull-ups because I'm doing a lot of weighted pull-ups on my max day, and then I'm doing these rows on dynamic day. All right, let's go ahead and work that part of the back. All right, let's make sure I'm building my rear delts, my rhomboids, my mid traps, upper traps, all that stuff. Need to keep building that. I need that stability on my bench press. All right, we're getting all the lat dominant work that we need from the pull-ups. You know, plus all the deadlifting and pulling. This is really, I'm going to end up with pretty total back development. My back development's decent as it is. I think this will give me enough variations. This will work. But the wider felt good today, and I think I did like 8 sets of 10. Some of them were faster and slower than others. Some of it I'm trying to find ways to wrap stuff around there so I'm not beating my bar up on the bottom of that bench. And today I went with one of my belts, like my belts I use for pull-ups and dips. And yeah, I feel good about the benching, and I'm really surprised at how deep I felt that through that entire outer edge of my chest, how sore it is. It's letting me know that I haven't really been engaging that area of my chest. Okay. And because that's a really big muscle, it's like what I tell you guys, people try to claim that, oh, max benching your chest is, yeah, it helps a lot. What do you mean? In fact, what I don't feel so much is my delts. Like, I feel my front delts a lot less. But interestingly enough, I still feel my upper chest and everything. But the lower chest is just so much more heavily engaged. And then as I got further into it, then I started really feeling those triceps. Especially, I guess, with the speed work against the chains. But that's the other thing. You know, people will say, oh, the dynamic work, how's that with the chains? That's not going to build your chest at the bottom. Well, yeah, it kind of does because of the overspeed eccentrics and having to accelerate out of it. It lit my chest up. Lit my chest up. In fact, I'm scared I'm going to be sore. I may not be able to brush my teeth. That's a good thing, though. It means that we are finding my weaknesses. And it doesn't look like that big of a difference. Like, if people were to just look at that who've been watching me bench, they may not even see much difference. Until you look close and you realize it's quite a bit difference on that angle. That arch angle is different. And boy, does it matter and where I felt it. But again, ultimately, what does it mean? I'm bringing more muscles into play. More muscles are being used with a slightly shorter range of motion. All right, that should turn into poundages eventually as I get good at it and as I do the supplemental lifts and as I train. What's going to happen? We should see my bench start climbing. See it start climbing now. The same way this whole system, I did the same thing for the squat. Then watch what happened. Walked in 62-pound box squat PR. 62-pound box squat PR in a few months. Okay. What if we can see similar percentages on the bench? Because that's more than a 10% increase. It's more than a 10% increase. All right, so let's see if we can get that same sort of transformation this year now on the bench. Keep moving forward with it. Then we did the JM presses, 5 by 10. This is really what I needed to finish stuff off, and that's what I need to do. No, not really much in the way of little small movements for my triceps and chest. I need to use compounds that focus on one or the other. And in this case, I'm getting chest work with a very, very, very tricep dominant bench press accessory with a lot of volume. Like a JM press with chains. Yeah, phenomenal bench accessory. And it's a lot of volume. 5 sets of 10 thrown at the end. Pretty decent amount of work. And I need to be doing this on all my upper body days. It's extra tricep work on an exercise like this. And see if this combined with the other technique, the other max effort work, the new bars, keep moving forward with the bench press. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.